Oh, this is the podcast studios brought to you by Machine Inc. Welcome, everybody.
Marco Perez.
How are you, Jono?
Great. How you doing?
Good.
So you do look clean cut, even though you said you didn't just get a haircut.
Yeah, no, not recently.
No. So, one second. Let me grab this here. All right. I'm back. So how's life been treating you?
Good. Working, staying busy.
How old are you now?
23, 24 in a couple weeks. Somewhere, birthday month. What is that?
Okay. So you're going to be 24? I thought you were a little older.
24. Yeah.
That's nice. Well, obviously, you do a lot of work. Hardworking guy.
Right.
What's the name of your company?
My name for my company is DLC after my last name, DeLacruz.
Mm-hmm.
So something to look forward to, I guess. DLC. Yeah.
Yeah. And you specialize in HVAC?
HVAC, yeah, heating and cooling systems for residential and light commercial buildings.
Okay. And you're pretty young in general.
Right.
How long have you been doing that?
Since I was 20, so about 5 years now. About 5 years, 4 or 5 years, yeah.
Okay. So you've been through a lot of it then. You've seen a lot of different applications.
Yes. There's many applications to residential housing.
Yeah. So in like a residential house, what options do you have? Say you're building a new house. I'm going to build a new house. What are my options? What systems might I look at?
For residential housing, it really does come down to how big your house is. Is it going to be a 1 floor, 2 floor house, and how much money do you want to dump into your house?
Mm-hmm.
In this case, you can have your basic gas furnace, which is gas heat to forced air, and either you have one system or two systems, depending if you have 1 or 2 story building
Mm-hmm.
house. You can have one system and then zone it out for best comfort, or you have two systems and you have your working them individually. Then you can do
This is more common, right? This is what I'm more familiar with.
right. You this would be more of like 75% of your house around here, where you walk into the mechanical room and you kind of see
This.
you see that, yes.
Okay.
And then you can go to your electric heat, where you use your 240 systems to heat up electric resistors, and you push forced air through it.
So it's the same furnace-based system.
Right, but instead of your
Gas.
heat, you use electric system.
I had one of those. And it was really expensive to run, the electric.
I would assume so. Yeah.
If you had a really efficient way to capture electricity, it seems like it wouldn't matter. It would seem almost free if you could. But I think that it's
Solar
a lot
panels.
of power. Yeah, it's a lot of.
Panels, yeah.
But it's right now it's too much mostly, right?
I think, yeah, especially with higher prices and then on your electric bill.
Yeah.
I think this is probably what you want to run. Gas is a lot cheaper.
Okay. So you got your electric furnaces. What other systems might you look into?
Let's just keep it simple with our heating systems for now. The other systems are radiant systems that can either be big radiators that can be about 4 feet tall to 2 feet wide, and then we have our baseboard heating and our floor heating. In this case, in the picture right here, you have your floor heating. So
Well,
those,
first, this is what you said first, right?
right, those are your baseboard. Those are more like first style homes. If you go to an older house, this is usually where you're gonna see.
Mhm.
And then you have your baseboard heating. The baseboard heating is more new. They like using that because it's very slick and you can hide it very easily.
Mhm.
And then you have obviously your floor heating, and I personally think that out of 3 heatings that we have gone through, um, radiant heat is your best heat. It heats your floor, it heats your stuff around your um
Let me
your
ask you.
house.
Let me ask you on this. What if you want to cool it down? Is it really hard? How do these systems
I
handle?
wouldn't. No, there's no such thing as cooling off your house with radiant heat. I mean with I guess you could say, yeah, with radiant heat. There's no way of cooling your house like this. There are water chillers that you can have in your outside your house, but this is more for like light commercial applications.
I got you. So you're saying there's no air conditioning or cooling system typically used.
Not like this.
So my question too, I mean, that's interesting to know. That would be kind of, but there are some liquid ones. But that,
That's more like let's think about it as the big radiator ones, the
Mhm.
first ones we went over for, and there is a big fan right besides it, just
blowing cold
pushing
air.
air, right.
I got you.
But
So a coil, basically.
right, air
Okay.
conditioning is basically a big dehumidification system.
Okay. Well, we'll talk. You're gonna bring that up
We can
in
talk about
detail.
that, yes.
I don't want to get off track. That's what I do. So, all right, this is radiant heat, and this you think is the best. Why do you think it's the best?
With your forced air, which is your gas and electric heat, you are just heating up the space air. In that sense, you're only heating up the air. You're not heating stuff around yourself per se. Your table, your chairs, both. But with radiant heat, you're heating up all that stuff around. Um,
So
so
with
everything stays warm.
with ambient heat, let's say ambient is air. With air heat, it's just superficial on the surface.
Superficial, yeah. It like the stuff around you will be not cold, but it will be a big temperature difference. Your air temperature to your table. But if it is radiant, it starts heating up everything slowly. So your walls, floors, everything around it. So it's a
So it
big
really
difference.
holds the heat a lot better.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Is it the most efficient?
Rough
I'd have to
question.
check into that.
Rough question. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I wonder.
I mean,
Cost wise, I guess would be my
there
one way to
is
look.
of everything because there is 80% furnaces, which is 80% of the heat stays in your house, 20% of the heat goes out the chimney. Obviously, because there's
Exhaust.
exhaust gases that you don't want inside your house, so you have to push it out.
Mm-hmm.
There's 80%ers that 80% of the heat stays in your house, 20% of the heat goes out the chimney, and then there's higher efficiency furnaces, which is 90. They can go all the way up to 98% efficiency. So it really does go into, are you going to want a 80%?
So the efficiency rating, if it's 80%, means that 20% is heat loss.
Correct.
So if you're looking at what the rating means and you see that number, the closer you are to 100, the more efficient you are because the less heat loss you have.
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. That's our 100% systems of thing.
No.
Is that even possible?
No, nothing is 100% efficient anywhere.
Yeah. So the 80% you have exhaust, and that's where you have a lot of heat loss.
Correct.
And in these situations, what is the rating typically on a radiant heat system?
Same thing. You have in these cases, you're gonna have a hydronic system. More likely gonna be a boiler, and there are high efficiency boilers. You have your um, same thing, 80%, 90%. Well, you can go all the way up to 98% efficiency boilers. So
Mhm.
same thing with it. Your conventional heating air.
It's all about heating that coil with the least amount of loss,
Correct. Yes.
and then that can be put into either system.
Right. Right.
So, radiant heat.
If I
This
were
is
to have a house, this would be what I would have as my heating source for my house, for sure. Yeah.
I've seen a house. It was an architectural build on Grand Designs, which I like a lot. You ever hear of Grand Designs?
No.
So they had a large concrete staircase in the center of the house.
Okay.
And they had a radiant system, but they also had it intentionally facing the sun. So, and they made it black, so it would grab a lot of heat
Okay.
just naturally. And they did kind of like a ecological sort of efficiency. I'm just making up words, but obviously they use the sun to really maximize how much heat was retained and the structure.
There is this house that in Evanston, and they use we can call them like solar panels, but instead of um getting electricity from those panels, we are pulling water through those panels, and the sun heats them up. And now that that water is getting heated up, he uses that water to heat up his radiant system
Okay.
in the heating season.
Mm-hmm.
And he also uses that hot water that's getting produced by the heat of the sun to heat up his domestic water. So it is very efficient. And that room that there are the heat exchangers, obviously, because the water inside those panels have to have a certain amount of antifreeze. You don't want to mix antifreeze with your domestic water. So
Your
you have,
potable water.
right. So you want to have a heat exchanger. That water gets really warm, and that room gets really, really, really warm. I cannot emphasize that as much. That room gets really warm. That the sun does a lot of work, and the sunlight is free. So why wouldn't you not use it to heat up your domestic water? And during heating season, you're radiant. So that is really, really nice. I don't know the specific name um of this system, but they I think they do use it in other places, not just here. So that would be more of like left side, of right up, right. That guy working top of it, something like that. That's another picture right there of that one. That's about what they use. All that is water being pushed around with pumps. Those panels get hot, and then they store the water inside. That's a nice way to use the sun to your advantage to heat up your domestic water or your radiant heat.
This 100% efficiency.
I guess you could just say this is 100% efficient, but obviously you are using electricity to move that water, so you are losing a little bit there because you are using your pump.
It's interesting. It makes me want to just go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, no, you can spend a lot of time with a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
Sure.
The high efficiency, ultra high efficiency, being close to 100%. It seems like we're moving towards that.
Slowly, for sure.
There's not a ton of new construction, but when there is, how does it play a role with these 100% systems? These super tight houses.
With the new construction, they are very, very demanding. Um, some places they are starting to force people to stop using gas furnaces. In some places they just stop applying gas because they are trying to stop gas consumption.
Okay.
So now they are relying on heat pumps to heat it and cool their house.
Mm-hmm.
with these new houses that they are building, um, you want to, they call them net zero houses. So they spray foam all four walls, exterior walls, to keep as much um, heat, or they're trying to keep as much heat loss to zero. And styrofoam is probably one of the best insulators. Um, they call it spray foam. People
Yeah.
come in and spray foam the walls. Um, with that spray foam, you are able to get 100% of that insulation between the studs. As you can see, they are pretty tight. You know, they spray them and it pretty much puffs up to a you can almost look at it as a filling inside.
Yeah.
Um,
Marshmallows.
yeah, pretty much. You know, you can see it fills up pretty well against all the creases.
So it's an airtight. It's 100%. I know some insulation. I know there's two types of this. There's closed cell and open cell.
Right.
The closed cell is non-permeable. It has zero vapor transfer. So that means airtight.
Right. Right.
So you gotta, like you said, in that you have no heat loss if you do like
Obviously,
closed cell, which is not
if you
as
have,
common.
right, if you had a house that's just four walls and no entryways, obviously you will have 100% closed house, but obviously you have doors, you have windows.
Oh, all the seams, the plates.
Right.
So I just want to note on the new houses, even in renovations, we are doing something small and they want all this, every seam, every single joint sealed with silicone
Yeah.
before the insulation is put. So they want it airtight.
Correct. Yes. Now, with having a house that is airtight, you come across a problem of your fresh air exchange. Some older houses are very open, so
Leaky?
leaky. You can there's a specific word, but it's not coming to mind right now. So
Yeah.
they are pretty leaky, and that air that is coming in and out is a lot easier. So you're not always breathing your own air. Now these houses are so tight that you need a makeup air system to bring in outside air into the house and exchange we can call it the stale air out and fresh air in. This to bring in fresh air into your house, and pretty much it also helps out with exhaust gases. Like in this picture, it could be for a hood vent, or it could also be for your bathrooms to be taking out the air from inside the bathroom or the steam inside the house.
So you're bringing in outside air, fresh air,
We consider that fresh air.
because these houses are so tight. Without bringing it in, you won't get any.
You wouldn't get any. Correct.
And eventually you would starve the oxygen.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty efficient.
We're getting close to that 100%. You could say, yeah.
And this is new, but for commercials, for commercial applications, it's always been a requirement. Or no? Or
yes.
no?
So some
Restaurants?
restaurants. We're gonna get into a different whole topic there.
Okay.
Restaurants, we are burning a lot of air.
You got
Right.
a lot of BTUs.
Stoves, they have they are using gas stoves. So in that sense, we are using oxygen to keep that flame alive. So now that we have that oxygen being burnt up, we are creating negative pressure inside the building. So we gotta push in fresh air from outside to keep that neutral pressure between outside and inside. Otherwise, I don't know if you've ever gone to a restaurant and you have a tough time opening the door. it is not really much because the door is hard to open, but because the pressure inside the building is, you could call it negative, so trying to pull up that door open is going to be very, very hard.
Yeah.
Maybe right now you don't pay much attention. You're just like, man, that door was really hard to open. But now with this new information that I just told you, you go to a restaurant, you're like, wow, that was a heavy door. Opening it, but once you're opening it,
Yeah, the air gets in.
The air gets in.
So what that might mean is you're pumping out more air than you're bringing in.
You are burning a lot more air.
Oh, so
inside.
you're heating it, so you're forcing it out, kind of.
Oxygen.
Yeah.
You're burning it up, so you're pulling oxygen into the building, right?
Got you.
So with those stoves, they're cranking at 100%. So you're pulling all that air in, burning it up. So there's little to no way of pulling fresh air into the building. That's why you gotta have
The makeup
the
air.
makeup air.
So it's forcing it up. It's pulling everything in tight, including that
Everything.
door.
Correct. Yeah.
So you get a nice airflow going in to feed all that oxygen.
You have to. Yeah.
Have a little nicer of a door.
Right. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
If it's a well-built restaurant, the door should work.
The worship. Yeah. I mean, you go.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't think about
Yeah.
that.
You go into a McDonald's. You know, the doors are pretty easy. So they're probably electric doors anyways. But if
Interesting.
you go
Yeah.
to older restaurant, you will notice it there, especially in Chicago. You'll notice it for sure.
Okay. So we got to bring makeup air into new homes. We need to bring fresh air.
Correct.
But that does pose a little bit of an issue because if you're bringing just straight air and it's winter and you have your house at 80 or 75 degrees and you got to pump fresh air in now.
When you put these makeup air systems, you usually tie it up into the ductwork, so that the outside air isn't as cold. Is there going to be a decrease of temperature? Yes, but you sacrifice one thing for another, right? Because if the house, this is the word that just came to me, permeable. If the house is permeable, you're getting that fresh air in somehow, but at the same time, you're getting that cold air or warm air, depending on the season,
Yes.
into your house. Now, when you do it in this makeup air, you bring in the stale air through the return, push it out, and then the fresh air, you're going to put it into supply. So if you're pushing, 100-degree temperature out the system, you are going to bring it down, let's be rough on it, 20 degrees. So now you're pushing in 80 degrees. Is it going to be a little slower? Yes, but you're getting that fresh air in. And those makeup air systems are not going to be turned on 24/7. They're either going to run every other hour of the day. So it's going to run 12 hours during your 24-hour period. Or there's very smart sensors that will only turn on when there is a certain amount of, they call it BPM.
Parts per million.
Right. Of CO2 in the building,
Oh,
of
wow.
reduction.
Yeah.
So
That's a system we've used in a parking garage.
right. So at a certain, ppm in this case, let's say.
Yeah, they kick on.
Right, they kick on. Is
They
that
do,
gonna turn on? Is that gonna be running on the whole time? Maybe because it's a weekend and there's a lot of people in that car garage, or it is a weekend and there's a lot of people in that car garage.
Yeah.
It depends on
The usage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in a house, yeah, that's a different. I mean, imagine having sensors when your oxygen is too low.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about very sophisticated systems
Correct.
and very efficient, hyper efficient almost. It seems like the best way to get there is with prefabrication for homes. I mean, for the new homes. I'm
Right.
going out a little
Right.
bit. But I have been thinking a lot about the different systems with you. You told me you like geothermal, which when I heard about it just sounded ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about the geothermal?
Geothermal system uses water to heat and cool your house, as crazy as it sounds, but I guess let's bring it down a notch and think about our heat pump systems, our conventional heat pumps. Conventional heat pumps use air. If you want to search up conventional heat pump,
Mhm.
a heat pump uses, let's think about it, air to refrigerant to heat and cool your house. With a heat pump, we are extracting heat. There's no such thing as cold. That's just the way we call it. There's always heat. There's always heat in the air, as little or as too little heat as
So
a big.
cold is considered just less heat
Correct. I mean, if you really go to the scientifics,
if you're measuring it.
right, right.
Okay.
There's no such thing as cold. That's just something we call it. But there is little or no heat. We just measure heat.
Sure.
So with our heat pumps, we are using air to refrigerant to pick up and reject heat. So let's use that picture for an example. So outside air is hot, right?
Right.
We pick up that hot air, and that refrigerant picks up that hot air, and then we push it into the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do and make it easier with our cooling system. It's hot inside the house. We pick up that hot air from
Mhm.
inside the house.
Yep.
With the refrigerant, we pump it out, and the hot air comes out.
Yeah.
Right. If you go up to your uh air conditioner, you could put up your when it's running, put your hand right above it when it's working, and you can see that that air that's coming out is, you can say, maybe 15 to 20 degrees hotter than your air outside, right? It is because you are extracting that heat from inside your house to outside air. You're moving that heat from one place to another.
So
Now,
it's like in a car, it's like a header. It's the point of radiator, the radiation point of the heat consolidated and then released, and that happens
correct.
in the center of the.
This is how it's working. Now we flip it around, and instead of picking up that heat from inside the house, we are going to pick up the heat from outside, and that heat from outside is going to be pushed into your house. That's during your heating season when it's cold out. Um, so then that's what we're doing. We are either moving heat out or heat in, depending on the season. If we're cooling, we are moving heat out. We're
Mhm.
heating, we're moving heat in.
Right. So you're
These
trying to bring a temperature into the house to offset the season.
correct.
And typically that's like 60 degrees kind of, right, as an average.
Right.
So that's part of the concept, I think, or the way I understand the geothermal.
I mean, we kind of just want to get an understanding of heat pumps and then go into geothermal.
Okay.
So here we are using water to air. I mean, here we are using air to refrigerant to heat up and cool off your house.
Gotcha.
Systems have a lot easier time cooling off your
Okay.
house because it's a lot more efficient, we can say. Um, but heating up your house is going to be a little rougher because there is a lot less heat outside. So we're trying to, squeeze out heat from 30 degrees outside, which is, you're like, well, there's not a lot of heat. There is heat there, but there isn't much heat. Now going to geothermal, the outside system, instead of using air, we are going to use water. With this water, there is heat in the water. We're going to start off with our heating season. So heat pump. So this is let's take a picture of like that one, the left one, or any of these pictures are pretty good. That one where it says summer and winter. Keep that one. Keep that one. So in this kind of you see that picture on the top right there. That one. Let's use that one. You see how in this system right here we have our geothermal. We have a pipe going in and a pipe coming out.
Mm-hmm.
In this sense, the arrow is pointing from left to right.
Yeah.
In our cooling season, it's hot out. We are cooling inside the house. We are able to use that water to cool off the system. We are using refrigerant to pick up that heat from inside the house, and we are pulling it into the loop. As you can see in this picture, we are
it's getting pumped.
We're getting water into the system, and it is getting warm. So let's say the temperature of the water is 50 degrees. The water is gonna get brought up. Like I said, let's be dramatic and say we are gonna bring it up 10 degrees. So that 50 degree water is going in, and 60 degree water is coming back out. So we are slowly but surely gonna start warming up that loop. We're gonna maybe bring it up. We can bring it all the way up high to 90 degrees by the end of the summer, where you're pretty much done using your system. And what is really nice about geothermal units is that this water started at 50, right? And we worked all the way up to 90 just to be on the heavier side. Conventional cooling systems, we are using the outside air to cool off our house. When it's 80 degrees, don't expect to cool down your house more than 60. Let's say at 100 degrees, we're not going to cool off our house more than 15 to 20 degrees. So if it's 100 degrees out, we are cooling our systems to 80 to 85 degrees.
So hold on, let me get this straight. On a conventional system, you can't expect more than a 15-degree spread from the outside air.
Correct. 15 to 20. Correct.
15 to 20?
15 to 20. That is if your house is very, very well sealed off, so you have a lot less heat loss, and you're able to keep the system going for longer. But if it's, a house built in the 2000s, the permeability of it is probably going to be pretty high. So you're only going to be you're only going to be cooling 15 to 20 degrees.
You can get a higher rate of difference in a better sealed house.
Right.
So what do they call the rate? What is that name? Do you know?
For what?
That percentage?
Like 15 to 20 degrees. Oh, I don't really know. No.
It's just what you can expect.
You can expect a 50 to 20 degree drop of your heating, of your cooling from the outside. I mean, in Texas, they're having a really rough time like cooling off their house because it's so hot out. Permeability is not good.
Yeah.
And then your system is only gonna it's gonna go cool 15 to 20 degrees. All right. So that's in hotter states. They even, sometimes tell you to maybe not run your system that often because everybody's using so much power.
Okay, right. Conserve. This is a teapot.
Conventionally, probably cooling, but we are only using 50 to 20 degrees. Now with this, it's at 100 degrees outside. With our geothermal systems, we are always having 50 degree water, right? Maybe we reach it all the way to 90 at the end of the heating season. But if the loop is well sized up to your house, then you're expecting to have at least 50 degree water into that system, so we're able to cool off a lot easier. So 50 degrees, we are able to cool down to 20 degrees below that. So we're probably going to be pushing out 60 degree air
over
Always,
it.
always, always, always. So it's a
So
lot cooler.
so it essentially acts a lot like a cave.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's like taking water into a cave to warm it up in the winter and then bringing it back out into the snow, but it'll just be about 50 to 60 degrees after it acclimates deep into the earth.
Correct. Yes. So right now we are cooling, so we are um heating up that pipe, right? That water in that pipe.
So
So
geothermal, I mean, I like words. I'm a word guy.
yeah,
I mean, if you break that down, you're using
geo, earth, thermal, temperature.
you're using the earth's efficiency to get a big gain or decrease
Right.
in the difference between the ambient air and what's desired.
Right. The earth is like a big battery. It holds the heat or the cooling of it holds the temperature of whatever that's inside there.
So you're paying for basically the electricity to pump it and then a fan.
All the electricity is going to be, in the system. So you're using a 240 system that you can be as efficient, and they are variable speed, so they are able to ramp up from 0 to 100 in between whichever.
Okay.
Previous systems would turn on into first or second stage, so they would be 50 or 100% of their
Momentum.
capability,
I
right?
got you.
And these newer ones are able to go from anywhere between 0 to 100. So if it
Wow.
wants to only run at a 10% and stay there, it will stay there for 15 minutes and that's it. If it has to go up a little higher, then it'll kick up a little higher, depending
On the needs.
the needs of the house.
There's some radiant systems that I saw that are similar that use maybe geothermal, but it's the system itself that has the ability to modulate in a way that allows it to anticipate when it will reach its desired temperature and prematurely start slowing down and shutting off.
Some systems have a computer built inside of them that basically start building an algorithm according to your house. So the first week or two, it will okay, it took me this long to accommodate temperature. It took me this long to accommodate temperature. Okay, now I don't have to go at 100% every single time. I'll just run 10% every other 15 minutes, or 30% every other 15 minutes, depending on the house, depending on how hot, cold it is inside the house. Then it starts to bring its own algorithm into the system, and then just kind of run. Sometimes you don't even know they're running because it's so quiet, or just not running at 100%. It's running at 10%, so you don't even notice it. You're not gonna notice 10% of airflow into your registers pretty easily.
Yeah, pretty subtle there. That's interesting. That's definitely, it just opens up so many portals in my mind to like, how are we going to build these houses in the future?
Oh, in the future, you can. I guess at the end we could talk about what I would do if I were to build my house from scratch.
That's all right. Well, let's hear it. We're not there yet, but let's start.
Um, so that
I'm
was a
gonna,
cooling aspect of a geothermal system.
yeah.
Now to heat the system, we are, like I said, now we have 90-degree water into our system. So now we are pushing that hot water, we can say, hot
Yeah.
water from the loop into your house. So we are pushing that hot water into. We're doing a heat exchange of the water to your air. So now we're pumping in. The system can help you out with 20 to 30 degrees of your water,
Mhm.
right? So it can push out with 90-degree water is going to push out, say, 120-degree air into your system. It's the lower it gets, the less efficient it gets, but it still can push out pretty hot
Yeah.
air, especially considering that when you're heating up your house, you're not going to be always 60 degrees inside of the house. Maybe you're 70 degrees with your comfortable spot, 70 degrees, so you're heating up 30 degrees up above that. So there's a lot that goes into variable, but you're being pretty efficient with higher water temperature. It does die down a little bit when the temperature of the water goes down, but by that time you're already, pretty warm inside your house.
Yeah. Yeah, so it handles it well. It makes me think about, just with me for the sake of ideas, the potable water and then the heating systems are usually, they're not the same. The mostly hydronic and any sort of, it's not considered potable, and it's ran with maybe different pipe because it's cheaper if possible.
These
I
systems can do domestic water, depending if you get a system that does domestic water. It will have a different heat exchanger to um, move that heat from the loop water to your domestic.
yeah,
So what is the nice part that I like is that, okay, we have a geothermal unit during cooling season.
okay.
We have to reject that heat from inside the house into the loop,
Mm-hmm.
but instead of rejecting that heat from your house to the loop, we are going to reject it to your domestic water. So now,
Yeah.
you're killing two birds with one stone. You are using only electricity to cool your house off, and that heat that you are using from your geothermal system is going pushed into your domestic.
To heat your domestic.
Your domestic. It's a nice touch to it.
Yeah. There was some commercial systems that we were looking at one point that had the domestic. They were still separated, but it was insulating it. So the domestic potable water was insulating the commercial radiant heat.
Yeah, you could just have a heat exchanger.
Yeah.
You can have a heat exchanger between your hydronic system and your potable water. So you basically have your radiant hydronic system and your domestic, and all they do is touch, and they're exchanging heat. So it is a really nice way of only using one system to do both.
What would you build? If you could build, how would you build it? Does it exist? Would you use what's here, or would you is there something you think needs to show up?
I think this is, with what I know and what I've seen,
Yeah.
the perfect house would be obviously geothermal. I would have geothermal heating and cooling in my house. I would have a geothermal to heat my house with hydronics, so it would be a water to water system. So I would have a hydronic system to heat up my floors, and in that way I am able to have my best heating of this of for a house, which is radiant heat. So I'm able to heat up my floors, heat up tables,
Yep.
So that would be my ideal, heating my house with radiant. And with cooling, I would do it with geothermal because, one, it cools off amazing. You will go into a house and you'll be like, this is geothermal cooling because it's so cool inside the building. And two, you don't have a big unit outside your house. It's all inside a mechanical room.
So if geothermal cooling, it utilizes a forced air system.
You can also heat your house with that. So you would have your heating and cooling with your with forced air.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have radiant heat, which is a lot better than forced air, I have my radiant heat. And per se, your radiant heat goes bye-bye on you one day. You still have your forced air heat. So you have
two systems available to you.
Right.
I like having both systems. I'm a huge fan of redundancy. I don't know if it's overkill. I'm sure it can be. But building some things recently, I don't want to say over engineering things, but making things so that physically the way they're built, at the end of them, they translate no residual reverberation. And like sometimes if you overkill something, like you put too much, I put a steel beam 20 feet into the ground, might only get reverberation 8 feet into the ground. So it's like you take it past the point, and then you're never relying on the material itself in like the depth to be the placeholder.
Right.
You're just killing it. Like, I don't know how else to say it. And I wonder where that finds its way. And I'd like to see it. I like to see things over engineered. So if you have the heat and the air, it's gotta be a nice space. Like you
Comfortable.
walk on the floor is warm. The air, you have the breeze. Because
Right.
typically you won't have the breeze. So you got a makeup air unit with geothermal heating. So you walk in, the ground, everything is warm. The air is warm and it's fresh,
Right.
ideally. And that like doesn't even like nobody has that.
There are people that have what I'm talking about.
People that know about HVAC.
Not necessarily, but they make the house, right? And they're like, I want this house and we're going to do a net zero house. And then they go through a general contractor and everybody talks to one another and they come up with the best solution. And there's 2 houses that have what I'm talking about that I know of, where they have geothermal radiant heat and geothermal cooling. And then kind of jealous. I would like something like that for a future home, that if I were to build one.
There's something too that should be said. I think is a part of it in some way. Cleanliness, like being able to keep your house clean and sealed, is really important to the longevity.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that lived in the rural areas, you can say, and I know people that lived in rural areas, and they're like, yeah, I used to have a fan in my house, kind of just something that I grew up with, having a fan in my room, and it helps me sleep at night. And I clean my fan maybe like every other year because it would get dusty.
Yeah.
He's like, here, I run my fan and I gotta clean it up every other day because it gets so dusty. And it's true. I mean, um, in the city, more urban areas, there's a lot of dust. That's why there is, I don't know.
Yeah, no, there's a need for purification.
Right, right.
No, I got you. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I'm just feel like I'm following your train of thought.
Yeah, no,
It's like a smog factor that I never think about, but it's in bigger cities.
yeah, it gets
It's a big thing.
it is a big,
Chicago's a big city.
right. It's a very dusty area. But you go to rural areas, it's not very dusty because there's not a lot of movement. And now that you have your 100% sealed house, you don't really have to worry about that much dust other than the dust you make by yourself.
Yeah.
A person will it shed off skin, so that's a way to make dust inside the house.
I wonder. Come on, give me
Yeah,
the answer.
but then they might have puppies or several puppies.
Oh yeah.
Then that house becomes even more dusty. And then there is another thing. Filters. Filters, filters, filters. People are like, well, how often am I supposed to change my filter? And people are like, every 3 months, every 4 months. But the thing is, how many people live in your household? Is it an active household where people tend to come very often? Do you have pets at home? If that's something that you have at your home, then those filters might have to be changed more often, right?
Absolutely.
If
Well, approximately your skin regenerates itself every 28 days.
Right.
So that would mean
Let's say every month, right?
if you did it every month, you took your filter out. Basically, that's your person in there.
More or less, more or less. But think about it. You have 5 people in your house and 2 dogs.
There's
Just
5 people in there.
Yeah, yeah, right. Think about it.
So
5
we're
people.
not even being anti-Semitic. This is
Yeah, I mean,
This is-
it is. It is like that.
that's what it is.
If it's 5 people and 2 dogs, just to make it, a happy family, 5 people and 2 dogs,
Yeah.
that filter is gonna have to be changed more often, right? Especially if that system runs more. Now, you go to an elderly home where it's only, this husband and wife, and they're not very active. They go make their food, sit down, hang out. That filter is only going to be changed maybe it doesn't even have to be changed within the 6-month period because there's not a lot of people there. It's a small house. The system doesn't have to run a lot.
Can't we do like a water filter? Can't we just blow the air through a waterfall and
Yeah,
keep
right.
it, mist it? What's
I-
this future house? We're gonna build something.
I mean, what you want to do is have a filter that has more surface area, and that way you are able to have that system a little bit more clean. There's a lot of different stuff we can there. That's another rabbit hole we can go into.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about so many other stuff that
Yeah.
if you really wanted to spend your day on that, you could spend your day on just digging down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Air filters is one of them. Getting in air is another. Like you can go into a big rabbit hole with that one. These air filters, they measure them by MERV. The heavier the MERV, the more filtration it has. For your house, you would want to have a 5 to 8 MERV. There's one specific one that comes to mind. MERV 7 by no means here by the brand is True Blue.
True Blue?
True Blue.
That's funny. Beautiful.
Yeah, right. MERV 7, those are personally my favorite filters because they are right in between having perfect airflow and somewhat of the best filtration. The higher you go in MERV, the more restrictive that filter is. So you are more restricting on that
duct.
on that duct.
You're
on
gonna
that
have
airflow.
to. There's gonna have to be some science happening.
Right.
You might have to run it on a 2-degree angle for 40 feet or something.
More surface area would help to bring that static down.
Yeah.
But obviously, if that is something that you do where you have a MERV 11 is about where the highest MERV you can buy at a store, I think. I'm not quite sure.
Regular retail store.
Right. Would
So
be probably MERV around there. Maybe 16 would probably be the highest.
So
But the higher it goes, the less permeable it is. So
But you tell me the MERV number, and I'm gonna tell you the use. Let's run it down. All right. I tell you the number, you tell me the use. MERV 1 to 4.
I mean, basically minimal filtration. I mean, MERV 1 to 4 has such little filtration that little dust will go through it.
So it's just like the BS one. You don't really want to use it.
No,
Don't use it in your home. It's not doing you a whole lot of good.
No, I wouldn't personally use it.
Okay. 5 to 8.
5 to 8 is like it says residential, commercial use. It will catch more of that dust.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that you don't want dust to start accumulating in your systems. That's probably the number one killer of anything, dust accumulating into your system.
Okay.
The one thing is that since MERV 1 to 4 has minimal filtration, it has really, really good airflow. As the higher the MERV, the lower the airflow we're gonna get.
I got you.
So
So if you have a poor system, you might see people using a lower MERV because the system is trash and
Right.
they're just getting something in there. And someone might come in and put a high MERV and it might choke out the
it
system.
chokes them out so fast. Right.
So your MERV is important, especially if you have a house that's pre 1990.
Right.
It might play a factor.
Correct.
All right, so MERV 9 to 12.
I mean, your superior residential use. I personally wouldn't use those in a house unless you have it designed designed for that.
Okay. So you shouldn't use MERV above 9 unless your house was built for MERV above 9.
Right. If you're using also that, you're catching a lot more stuff into that filter, so you're gonna have to be changing that filter more often than your MERV 5 to 8 per se. You're gonna be having to change that. Maybe if you changed your 5 to 8 every other month, now you're gonna, with your MERV 9 to 12, you're gonna have to do it every month or every 3 weeks.
Yeah, because it's catching a lot more.
Correct. Yes.
So 13 to 16.
I haven't personally had any experience with these, but they are more right here, hospitals, or there are some places that have to have very clean spaces. Like I worked with this building, and they have to have very, very clean systems because if they have any kind of dust land on their work, it is very, very demanding job, right?
It'll compromise whatever
right.
the work is or damage it.
They have control boards, so if they have a dust speck there, those control boards can be trash because that speck of dust now couldn't pass the ink or the solder, whatever they may have used. So now in that they use 13 to 16 MERV to keep all that dust away.
So you're getting into, and those type of facilities are going to be more and more, because with new technology and 3D printing, having clean environments is really important. Yeah. They isolate them, they make them small, and those are manageable. But having a whole facility, that's another ball game.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. Well, I think the MERV is a really good note because everyone has to have a rating for their house, and at a minimum they should understand this if they have any sort of issues or are thinking about their filters or wondering.
Right.
So how about let's leave it there for this time?
Sounds good.
Maybe come on again soon.
Yeah.
All right, great. Marco, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you everyone for watching. See you soon.